Hey there, Ken Calcutt with Cornerstone Financial Management. I wanted to give you an update on what's going on in the market and touch on a different topic today. Just a quick update here. You can see on the chart, this is what I go over most of these videos, this S&P 500 stock market in general. Particularly keying in here in the last couple of months. Most of us know by now we had a pretty good drop in the market between mid-February to mid-March. That's corrected a little bit back up here in the last couple of weeks. We're shooting this last week in March. April 2nd is a big date. That's the reciprocal tariff date. Supposedly we're going to know what reciprocal tariffs are on April 2nd or after. I'm not convinced we'll fully know at that point, but at least we should have more information by April 2nd on what tariffs are going to be. And I think that's important because I think tariffs are the main reason we're seeing this sell-off. It's just causing a lot of uncertainty in the economy, a lot of uncertainty on what impact we're going to have to the economy, and we just simply don't know, especially if we don't know what the tariffs are going to be. So April 2nd is a big date. We should get that information next week. I expect within 60, 90 days, maybe we'll see the markets kind of settle down and start to get some direction, but we really can't get much direction until we have some more information on what's going on with these items. So we're watching it. Nice little bounce the last couple of weeks, but nothing to get too excited about or too nervous about. I'm going to shift gears. I want to touch on the topic I haven't talked about in a while here. Okay, so 529 plans. A lot of you guys saw it. We sent out recently the bracketology for college costs with it being March Madness. Obviously, college costs are pretty extravagant at this point, but 529s being the most popular savings vehicle people use to save for college. One of the common questions we get is, well, what can I do with money if I have money left over in a 529 plan after my kid's done with college? It's a fair question. So these are the three main options I would say you have. There are some outlier things you could do, but these are the three main things. Number one, you could simply withdraw the money from a 529 plan that is money's not going to be used for college, and you can use it for anything you would like. Now, at that point, the earnings on the account will be taxable, and there may be an additional 10% penalty on those earnings, but it can be withdrawn and used for other things with tax considerations. So that's an option. Option two, you can just simply change the beneficiary. If you have someone else that you would like to use that money for their education, you can just change the beneficiary, use it for another child, use it for yourself if you want to go back to school and get a different degree, whatever. Any educational expense can be covered with 529 funds, even if you shift the money to a different beneficiary. This is probably the most common method we see where there's money left over. People shift it to the next kid in line, use it for the next one. That's fine. Number three, this is a new one that just got approved last year, 2024. You can now use remaining funds in a 529 plan to fund a Roth IRA for that beneficiary child who's now an adult. This is kind of cool because the 529 effectively operates a lot like a Roth IRA in that the earnings are tax-free if we use the account for education. And so when we don't use the money for education, the IRS finally decided to allow us to keep that money tax-free by simply shifting it to a Roth IRA for that child. So once we shift that money to a Roth IRA for that child, it allows the money to continue growing tax-free for retirement purposes. Now, there are some carve-outs that we need to be aware of with this. You can only put the annual Roth IRA contribution limit is still the limit of the amount we can move from a 529 to a Roth IRA. So we can't put an unlimited amount into a Roth IRA from the 529. So for example, this year, the IRS says the Roth contribution limit's $7,000. That would be the maximum amount I could move from a 529 account to a Roth IRA for that beneficiary child. And that beneficiary child has to be earning an earned income that they report on their tax return to make them eligible to fund a Roth IRA. So you got to be aware of that. And there's a lifetime limit of $35,000 that can be moved from a 529 to a Roth IRA. So we can't, they've put some safeguards in place to prevent us from putting massive amounts of money in 529s and then just moving it all to Roth. But it is a nice feature they've added that used to not exist. So now we can have leftover funds and not be stuck with option 1, where we have to pay taxes and penalties. We can use it for another child. We can use it to fund a Roth IRA for the original beneficiary child. These are all really good options depending on your situation and what makes the most sense for the money. Thought it would be helpful to share because we get this question a lot. And so there's some really reasonable options out there of ways that money can be utilized long-term without having to pay taxes and penalties. Hope this is helpful. Reach out to us anytime if we can help. Thanks.